Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, considering there is going to be a big 2021 on the horizon for Anthony Joshua, let's assess that victory over Kubrat Pulev. In that fight, he's shown a different side to himself, much as he did in the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch, and I think that is something we can expect from Anthony Joshua going forward. Everyone was talking about the old AJ, everyone was also talking about the new AJ. I don't think Anthony Joshua is all that different. I think that he's just tailoring his game plan to his opponent and going in there and executing it. So for Ruiz, boxing on the outside, keeping it long, hitting him hard and often, using straight shots. And in there with Pulev, he was boxing when Pulev wanted to fight, and he was fighting when Pulev wanted to box. That is what Anthony Joshua was doing. So different opponent and different horses for different courses. So Anthony Joshua will tailor his game plan and what he does in the ring to his opponent. So if he's in there with Tyson Fury, then that will take a completely different game plan to Alexander Usyk. That is what needs to happen at this level, because Anthony Joshua did go in there with the wrong kind of game plan before, and that was in the first Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. He was boxing well to start with, but he started trading when he didn't really need to, so those were certain things that he needed to learn from, and he did, and he will put that into motion going forward. So I think that Anthony Joshua is not a new fighter. He still has shades of that fighter who was knocking out guys in his first 16 bouts, but obviously he's developed and he's gotten a lot better since then. You cannot do what he was doing then to these kind of opponents, so obviously adjustments need to be made, and we've seen that in the last couple of fights, and that will serve him well going in there with a Tyson Fury or an Alexander Usyk. Obviously, we are all calling for the Tyson Fury fight, and that is the natural fight to make next, but Alexander Usyk is not going to be a soft touch for Anthony Joshua, so no matter who AJ faces next, it's going to be a tough fight, and it's going to be a style that is extremely awkward and difficult to navigate at times, whether it's a Tyson Fury or Usyk. So, going forward, what does the Kubrat Pulev victory mean for AJ? I mean, you could consider it to be not all that much. It was a mandatory challenger for the IBF, and Anthony Joshua dealt with him in the way he was expected to. But was he really dealing with Pulev in the way that we expected him to? Did he walk through Pulev? No, he boxed him, broke him down, and knocked him out. And in my opinion, that is more impressive than just going in there and blowing him away in 2 or 3 rounds, because I think that that's shown what Anthony Joshua can do. He can be mature, disciplined, put in a good boxing performance against a good fighter, a good boxer in Kubrat Pulev, and outbox him, outfight him, outwork him in every single aspect. But he didn't just show that. What Anthony Joshua also shown is his finishing instincts. He's shown that once he gets you in trouble, you're going to be out of there. I mean, obviously, he did have Andy Ruiz in trouble, but he did rush in it too quickly. This time, he was calculated, and in the 3rd round, when Pulev turned his back, I mean, the fight could have been stopped there and then, because he turned his back. He didn't go down, and the ropes didn't hold him up. There was no reason for a standing count, so the fight had a genuine possibility of being stopped right there and then, but Pulev was lucky. Also, Anthony Joshua then got him again, but Kubrat Pulev still pulled through, so Anthony Joshua settled in the next round. He didn't go after him. Maybe he did throw too many punches in that 3rd round, but I think that more so than anything else, he was composing himself. He knew that he could hurt Kubrat Pulev whenever he caught him, so what he would do is keep behind his jab, keep to his boxing. His jab was working better than Pulev's, and he was outworking Pulev in every single aspect, so he was comfortable in there. Why take silly risks? That was the thing with AJ in this fight. He got the knockout, but he didn't take the same kind of risks as he did earlier on in his career, because he didn't need to. He had the power, he had the boxing ability, so he doesn't need to make it difficult for himself. He got behind his boxing, stuck to those hard, stiff jabs, and broke down Kubrat Pulev. So all in all, I think it's fair to say that Anthony Joshua is not the same fighter he was before, but then again, he's not going to be. He is improving, he's getting better with each and every fight, and I don't know what some people are expecting with the fact that Anthony Joshua is 31 years old, and them saying there are still improvements that need to be made. Maybe there are a few things that he can tighten up on. There always are for every single fighter anyway, but I don't think that Anthony Joshua has much more that he needs to do, because he does raise his level to each and every opponent. I mean, aside from the Andy Ruiz Jr. blemish on his resume, he's beaten every fighter he's been in the ring with, including Andy Ruiz, in a rematch. So I think that the time has come now where Anthony Joshua is no longer a raw novice. He's had many experiences that experienced fighters in the heavyweight division, such as even Andy Ruiz Jr., who's been boxing a lot longer than AJ, even Joseph Parker. Those guys haven't necessarily experienced the same thing Anthony Joshua has, being in there with the likes of Klitschko, losing, coming back in an immediate rematch, things like that. I mean, the Pulev fight, where there was a lot of speculation about Anthony Joshua, where once again all that was being spoken about was the Tyson Fury fight, not the guy he's actually getting in there and fighting. That must be so difficult, to be fighting someone like Andy Ruiz Jr. or Kubrat Pulev, and for everyone to just be talking about Tyson Fury and even Deontay Wilder back then. So that must be very difficult to then focus and zone in on the opponent in front of you, because obviously Anthony Joshua wanted undisputed back when he lost to Ruiz. That is what he wanted. He wanted undisputed, not Andy Ruiz Jr. But instead he got a late replacement instead of a fight that he was hyped up for. And he had the same questions in the build up to the Pulev fight, but he put that aside this time and focused purely on the Kubrat Pulev, because this was a tough fight and it turned out to be a very good fight, very entertaining with a bit of something for every boxing fan. A bit of boxing, a bit of knockout power. I mean, Anthony Joshua's shown that he is the finished product now. There are a few things maybe he can tighten up on. He will know that, and you are always learning. But I don't think Anthony Joshua is the raw novice that he was a couple of years ago. And I think that his resume just proves that. Guys, anyway, Merry Christmas, and make sure you leave your thoughts on this in the comments below. Also leave a like and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.